Alright, hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. And today I'm going to be doing a mac and cheese stuffed meatloaf. If you watch my previous video, you'll see that I made a mac and cheese southern style. And now I'm going to take that leftover mac and cheese and put it into a meatloaf. So this video, it won't take too long to do all that. It'll be quick. So here I got some garlic that I chopped up. Well, I chopped all this up beforehand before I got on camera. So I got 6 cloves of garlic here, and I got 1.5 onions. I got 1 sweet yellow onion and half of a red onion that I used before. Went ahead and threw that in since it was sitting in my fridge. And I got 2 bell peppers. Both of them are yellow. I usually like to mix up my bell peppers, the colors, but in the store, the yellow ones are the only ones that seem like they were fresh, so that's what I went with. The rest of them look horrible. And I got half of a chili pepper that I had sitting in my freezer. I decided to go ahead and throw that in. Just half of a pepper. But if you don't like any kind of heat, you can leave that out. So I'm going to go ahead and saute all of this in my pan and soften it. So I see you at the stove. Okay, I'm at the stove. I have my oil heating. I use a little extra virgin olive oil and put it inside of my non-stick skillet. Now I'm about to add the vegetables. Sprinkle all over here. Okay. And I got this on a medium-low heat. And I probably end up turning it up a little bit. I just want to keep it low for now because I got the garlic in. And garlic can burn real easily, real fast. So I think I'm going to keep this on medium low now that I think about it. I'm going to keep this on low. And I'm going to soften this for probably about 5 or 7 minutes. I think that's all it'll take. Yep. And I'm not going to salt this because salt will draw out the moisture and it'll take a little longer for it to do its thing. And besides, I want to have as much moisture as possible when I'm making a meatloaf. I don't want it to be dry, so I do want the vegetables to have a little bit of moisture left in it. So I'm not going to salt this. And of course I'll salt the meat, but I'm not going to salt this at this stage. Okay, so I'm going to let this do its thing for about 7 minutes and we'll be good to go from there. And we'll move on to the meat. Okay, while the veggies are over there doing this thing, I'm going to make a custard for the meatloaf. A custard. So you say, I'm going to start off with some breadcrumbs. Here I got some panko breadcrumbs that I'm going to use. But feel free to use regular breadcrumbs, or you can even use a roll and just moisten it with some milk. Just one roll, or you can use some sandwich bread that you got on hand, about 3/4 slices. But I'm gonna do about a cup, probably about, I think that's good, probably about 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs. That's probably around where we at right now. And then we're gonna moisten it with some milk because you don't want it to be dry. About a cup of milk to start. You just want to make sure the breadcrumbs are moistened because they go in dry and end up making the meat dry also. And we have to add more when we add our meat in. We'll do that. But for now, we're going to start off with 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs, a cup of milk, and 2 eggs. The eggs and breadcrumbs are going to act as our binder and thickener. That'll help stretch everything out. Okay. I think that's good, and we're going to give that a mix. Got my fork. Stir that up. And we're going to add this to the meat mixture after our veggies are done. I'm going to throw this in there too. I'm using 5 pounds of meat, by the way, if you wonder how much I'm using. But we'll get to that when we get to it. Okay, this all mixed up. Don't worry about over mixing this because it's just eggs and breadcrumbs. What you don't want to over mix is the meat itself because it'll end up making it tough and dry. So when we get to that point, I'll explain everything. All right. Okay, you guys, now we're on to the meat, and we're gonna season the meats with whatever normal seasonings you like to use on your meat. So I got 3 pounds of ground beef right here, and I got 2 pounds of ground pork. But if you don't want to use either, you can always go with ground turkey or a mix of anything you like to use. I'm just using 5 pounds of meat total. So use whatever you like to use. You know, some people don't like pork, so they go with turkey. Some people don't like beef. Yeah, you can go with ground chicken or anything, really. Whatever you like. So I'm going to go ahead and season this the way I normally do. I got some of this Sazonador Total, the perfect seasoning, what they call it. I'll sprinkle a little of that in. It got salt in it, so you know, be careful how much salt you use. But you know how to season your meat. You've been cooking for a while now. Got some parsley flakes, so I'm gonna go ahead and shake in some parsley flakes. Parsley just give it a nice color. It doesn't have a taste really. Okay. And I'm gonna sprinkle in some red pepper, crushed red pepper. Not too much. I remember we added half a chili pepper earlier, so just a little bit is fine. Got some onion powder. Shake some of that in. Only seasoning you gotta be really careful for is any seasoning with salt or heat. I got a little bit of cumin I'm gonna shake in. Just a little. I don't want too much cumin because cumin is real strong. So you just need a little bit. Got some dried rosemary I'm gonna throw in. Just grind that on in there. Don't take a whole lot of rosemary. And I'm sprinkling some dried cilantro. If you got fresh herbs, you can use those too. You know, it's completely fine. And then I got some adobo. I'm gonna throw that in. This has salt in it, so be careful how much you use. Then I'm gonna put in some Sazon Tropical. It's a new seasoning my husband found. I like to use it. It's pretty good. It got salt in it too, so don't put too much. Some chicken bouillon, pollo, Maggi pollo. Sprinkle a little of that in. Put some fresh black pepper in. Now I do with my pepper grinder, fresh pepper. Okay, I think that's good. I'm going to sprinkle in some garlic powder. And to finish it off, I put in some sazon. We use 2 packets. Give it a nice color and flavor. But you know, season your meatloaf to your liking. Whatever seasonings you like to use on a regular is perfect. And I'm putting in my moistened breadcrumbs and egg mixture that we made earlier. Throw that in. That's our binder, the eggs and breadcrumbs. And it helps stretch it out. Trying to get out every little bit. You know, don't want to waste any food. Or you can call it our custard mix since it has eggs in it. And we're going to put in our veggies that we cooked earlier and let cool down. Let it cool down on the stove while I was doing the rest of this. Throw that in, all of it. Alright, so that's all of our fixings, and we're going to mix this by hand. Use gloves if you're We're not really into touching raw meat. But I'm used to it. Hell, I grew up in the South. Okay, just mix it up. Oh, and be careful. Don't mix it too much, because that's what end up making people meatloaf dry and tough. Try not to mix it too much. Just mix it enough to where everything is incorporated. And once it is, you're done. Try to get everything together, and that's it. Any kind of ground meat, if you overwork it, it gets tough. That's why a lot of people don't like meatloaf, because it's usually tough and dry. So you moisten those breadcrumbs and you don't overwork the meat, and you are good to go. I think it's good right here. I don't want to mix it too much. So I got my oven preheating at 375, and we're gonna form this meatloaf and throw it in. Okay, and see you at the stove. Okay, you guys, I'm at the stove, and I got my mac and cheese from my previous video. Make sure your mac and cheese is cut, and then you have an easier time cutting it into squares or whatever shape you prefer. I just want to cut it into a square so it's easier to lay down and put inside the meatloaf. You don't want it hot, because it'll be running all over the place. It'll be hard to shape your meatloaf with mac and cheese running all over the place. Here's our meat mixture that we just put together. I'm gonna throw in half of it. And I grease this pan also. So make sure you grease your pan so the meat won't stick. And I'm gonna throw in half of this meat mixture that we just put together. And we're gonna put in a loaf shape. This is gonna be a pretty big meatloaf, because I'm using 5 pounds of meat. So if you're using a smaller amount, it's not gonna look exactly the way I got it. So you can tell by the way it feels that it's really moist. So you want to put a dent in the middle. Hope you guys can see it pretty good. I'm gonna put a little indent in the middle so we can lay our mac and cheese down. Okay. Now let's put our mac and cheese in the middle. I'll break this one up a little bit so it can fit better. Okay, that's our mac and cheese in the middle. And if you watch my previous video, you'll know that I had some cheese left over in that video. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that to the mac and cheese to give it a little more oomph. Some of that shredded cheese we had left over after we made our mac and cheese. Go ahead and add some. If you don't have any left over in your mac and cheese, you know, just add a little bit more. Or if you don't want to, you don't have to add any. It'll be fine with just the mac and cheese by itself. Sorry I hit the camera. But that's all the cheese I had left. And now we're going to take the other half of our meat mixture and throw it on top and form the loaf. Okay. Okay, and we're going to cover the macaroni and our leftover meat. And you squish it all together to form the loaf. It's a big meatloaf I'm doing. So it's going to take it a minute to cook. So just form it as best as you can into a loaf shape. Hopefully y'all can see the camera. We'll see it on camera pretty good. It's smelling good already, to be honest with you, and I ain't even throw it in the oven yet. How that's looking to y'all? That look a meatloaf shape to y'all? Okay, I think that's good. We got all of it sealed up, all the mac and cheese sealed up. And as big as it is, it's gonna take probably 45 minutes to an hour to cook. Okay. And in the last 15 minutes, we're gonna add our sauce on top. So we're gonna go ahead and let this go for 45 minutes at 375 until it's about fully cooked, and then we're gonna add our sauce, which I'll cover after this. Okay. Okay, you guys, this is the meatloaf. I had it in the oven for 45 minutes. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the barbecue sauce on. And today I'm going to be using Sweet Baby Ray's Sweet Vidalia Onion. That's the only barbecue sauce I like to use. It's my favorite. But use whatever you have on hand, whatever you like. It'll work perfect. Anything is fine. Also, I know back in the day, my grandma, she used to use a mix of brown sugar and ketchup. That's how she used to sauce up her meatloaves. So if that's something you like, then go ahead and do it. Today I like Sweet Baby Ray's. That's my favorite. But whatever you like to use, go ahead and use it. So I'm end up using this whole bottle. Whatever you like. You want to use sweet chili sauce, that'll work. Ketchup and mustard mix, that'll work. Whatever you like. I know it's probably not your first time making a meatloaf, but if it is, use whatever you like. I like Sweet Baby Ray's Sweet Vidalia Onion. You know, I'm from the South and we like Vidalia onions. Like I said before in the old video, I used to spend my summers in Vidalia with my cousins. And they got some good ass onions out there. Okay, so that's all the sauce I got. And I'm going to put this back in the oven for another 15 minutes. Let it caramelize a little bit. And when it's done, I'll show you the final product. Thank you. Okay, you guys, I put the barbecue sauce on and the meatloaf is out the oven now. And this is how it's turned out. Pretty damn good. So, I'm going to go ahead and cut into this so you guys can see how it looks on the inside. So let's go ahead and cut with the spatula. Okay. There's a little bit of cheese in that one. So I'm going to give it another slice. Oop. Child knocked it apart. As you can see, mac and cheese is definitely in there. Okay. You can see. Alright. That's how it looks cut. And I'm going to go ahead and plate it so you guys can see it better. Alright. Here's our meatloaf. Mac and cheese stuffed meatloaf. You can see the mac and cheese is sitting up in there. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like my video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for new videos posted every week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.